Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel for another video this week. Again, we're going to be talking about Frank Ocean, continuing the Frank Madness round 2. And as you can see, I have a little new additions to the background. So actually hung up my Boys Don't Cry magazine cover in the corner over there. And I also have another Endless poster. So I thought I would get them all in the shot this week since this video is all about Frank Ocean. If you saw my Frank Ocean Madness round 1, then you saw that I was basically playing this bracket thing, that graphic that somebody made on the subreddit where they compare songs. So I did the first side on the left, and I called that round 1. And now we're gonna do the right side, which is gonna be round 2. And then I will create like a final round video, very much breaking down why I think whichever song is going to reign king will be the one that I choose. So in the last video, Nights from Blonde actually won the first round. And then for this second round, I thought I'd do it a little differently rather than reacting straight on camera. I actually sat down and went through every song and kind of decided which one to pick ahead of time. So we'll see how you like that reaction. Maybe there'll be less oh my gods, because I was kind of already processing how difficult or challenging it was for me to pick one. But I did have a prediction on this side on what I thought would win, and it did end up winning. And I don't know if that's just because like my bias that I already felt, but I do genuinely believe that this song should have won this side. So let's just start off really heavy. So the very first one that we have, the first comparison that we have, is the song Chanel versus Rush's 2, which is from Endless, and Chanel is a single. So I also went back and listened to all the songs to make sure that I was getting them correctly. I'm pretty sure Rush's 2, if I can remember correctly, was an instrumental, and I was actually really sad that this song was compared to Chanel because I really love that song, and especially hearing it in my car. I feel like it's such a smooth beat and transition song, but I have to go with Chanel on this one because Chanel was by far the best single that Frank released in 2017. So, I mean, Chanel just has everything in my opinion. So, and since Rush's 2 is really only like an instrumental song, a good song, by the way, I'm gonna go with Chanel. Next one we have is Future Free versus Comme des Garçons. This one was really difficult for me because I feel like Future Free is unappreciated, and again, a little gem on Blonde that I feel like doesn't get that much credit because it has an amazing beat drop in the middle of the song. However, there is obviously the very long interview with his little brother that I feel like kind of, it doesn't ruin the song, but I feel like that makes people skip because they think it's such a long song and there's not really like much to it. And this is like Frank rapping as well. That is a beautiful song. I just really appreciate that. But when it comes to Comme des Garçons, like, that is a vibe. Like, that song, when you put it on, it's like, oh, I feel like I need to move my body in a certain way when I listen to that song. So I'm gonna go with Comme des Garçons. I feel like that was a tough pick though, because if Future Free had been against another song, there's a high chance that I would have picked Future Free. But Comme des Garçons is like a very competitive pick, so I'm picking Comme des Garçons. The next one is Rush's versus We All Try. So We All Try is from Nostalgia Ultra and Rush's is from Endless. And I feel like this was actually an even matched kind of song competition or whatever, song battle. I'm however gonna go with Rush's because I feel like his vocals are a little more developed on Rush's, and there's a lot more simplicity to Rush's that We All Try kind of, I don't know, like the lyricism in We All Try is okay, And I don't mean to, and I just mean okay for Frank. And okay for Frank is really good, but I don't think it is that strong of a lot of Frank's lyricism. So I'm gonna go with Rushes. And also for some reason, Rushes just reminds me of like country music, just because of that like guitar. But it's not country. Okay, the next one we have is Forrest Gump versus Golden Girl. So Forrest Gump is from Channel Orange, and Golden Girl is actually a bonus track on Channel Orange. Golden Girl was my song, okay? Like, if you had asked me maybe like 2 or 3 years ago, what's your favorite Frank Ocean song? Golden Girl. Like, maybe even, no, not a year ago, like 2 years ago, if you would have asked me, I would have definitely easily said Golden Girl. Because it is like, ooh, another, again, a hidden gem, because people don't know about it since it's a bonus track. But that song just like, Frank's lyricism, well, not lyricism, sorry, his vocals in that song, like the layering of it, oh, is so beautiful. And I feel transported to like an island when I listen to that song. So, and Forrest Gump is a great song. But if it comes to Golden Girl, like, it's gotta be Golden Girl. I remember when I first saw Frank, so the first time I ever saw Frank was at the Odd Future Carnival 2, and he was a guest there. And I remember, like, before, because Frank didn't have a Twitter, so I would tweet at Tyler, the creator, like, very often and be like, please make Frank Ocean play Golden Girl at the Odd Future Carnival. And he did. Oh my God. Not because of me, obviously. Like, I'm sure Tyler did not even notice my tweets. But, oh, and I was so sad because my camera died by that time. But honestly, it's okay because I feel like I have the memory of it more than the video. But yeah, I never thought I would be able to say that I heard him I heard him sing my favorite song live, but he really did. This one is Swim Good, which was on Nostalgia Ultra / a single, versus Strawberry Swing. Strawberry Swing is a cover, I believe, of a Coldplay song. Correct me if I'm wrong. Also, like, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not pretending to be like the know-it-all when it comes to Frank. I mean, I even fuck up remembering some of his songs or whatever. But I'm going to have to definitely go with Swim Good. I think just because it's also an original song and like, oh man, the vibe in Swim Good, like that lonely brokenheartedness that Frank sings about is so powerful. And like, I don't know, just the theme, or not the theme, the like message of just like, I'm going to end it all because I can't live without you kind of thing is very powerful. And like, again, hits my emotional self. I'm a very emotional person. Okay, then the next song we have is UNITY, or I'm just gonna call it Unity. I know, like, UNITY is what it technically is, which is on Endless versus Honey Baby. And Honey Baby is literally just like a 9-second snippet of a sample from somebody. So I'm obviously gonna go with UNITY. Unity is such a good song. Like the rapping in it, oh man, oh my, like I think that's some of Frank's best rapping. Like definitely top 3, if not the best. He has some rapping in other songs that he like features on, and that's really golden, like prime, like thinking of like Raph and Sunday with Earl Sweatshirt, but him doing it solo, oh, he could easily have like a rapping career if he wanted to. But anyways, yeah, if he wanted to, like, I remember people speculating that before Blonde was released was that he was going to release a rap album. And I was like, even if he did, like, he would fucking kill it. Like, he would still kill it. Like, it doesn't even matter. Next one is Wither, which is from Endless, versus Sweet Life, which is from Channel Orange. This one was hard for me because I think Wither is a really good song. Like the redundancy of him singing like the Wither part and B, like I feel like that's really golden. But when it comes to Sweet Life, like that song is central to Channel Orange and very much like communicates a lot of themes of Channel Orange. And it just like, ooh, like the opening to me is like really powerful. So I have to go with Sweet Life. The next one we have is Ivy, which is from Blonde, versus Nature Feels, which is from Nostalgia Ultra. This one was hard too because Nature Feels is a good song. And it's actually a cover of an MGMT song. What is it? Electric Feel. And he like basically samples that but sings over it. Okay, funniest thing ever is that for the longest time, because I downloaded that song on my iPhone, for the longest time, I don't know what happened to my download, but it cut off at one point for Nature Feels, and I always thought that was the end. And then somebody played Nature Feels around me, and it kept going, and I was like shocked. I was like, wait, this song continues? Like forever. I had seriously thought that it just like ended at one point, and it didn't even make sense the way that it ended, but I just went with it because I'm like, that's the song. But Nature Feels is a really great song. But when it comes to Ivy, Ivy is such like, I feel like that was a really popular song off of Blonde. I feel like Ivy was the Thinking About You of Blonde. I'm gonna go with Ivy. What we have is Thinking About You versus Dust. So everybody knows Thinking About You, and Dust is from Nostalgia Ultra. I'm gonna do a controversial hot take. Okay, Thinking About You is a great song. I have a great memory of Thinking About You. At my senior prom, it was literally the last song that they played. And I lost my mind and like ran around the dance floor. And I got to dance with like tons of people with that song because I was just running around dancing. So that's a great song. But Dust is like, I mean, Nostalgia Ultra is usually not known for some like entry-level Frank fans, I guess you could say, but Dust is a really cute song, and like the lyrics of it, like I feel like Frank is personally singing to me, and like just the idea of like having their own library and falling in love with somebody, like I'm gonna go with Dust just because I think the story that it tells is like one of my favorites. So yeah. Okay, one is Lens, which is a single, versus Songs for Women, which was on Nostalgia Ultra. This is difficult too because again, I feel like this is the old, very old Frank versus new Frank. And Lens is a great single. There's a lot of auto-tune in it, which is kind of weird, but it's an interesting song. However, Songs for Women, like, oh man, like that is, like, it is just one of those songs that makes any like feminine person who loves when men sing to them like feel a certain type of way, you know? I feel like it's far more lovey-dovey and emotional and like hitting at the heartstrings than Lens is, whereas Lens is more of like a deep introspective kind of song to me. I'm gonna go with Songs for Women. Next one is Siegfried. I honestly don't know how to say that. I'm sorry. Like, I really should Google it. But Siegfried, oh my god, I can't even. Versus Pretty Sweet, and those are both from Blonde. Okay, this one's a little easy for me because Siegfried. I don't know. Oh my god. Anyways, that song is very deep and actually dark. Like, if you listen to the lyrics, I'm pretty sure I've heard people speculate too that was Frank singing about when he like was like suicidal for the first time, or not even for the first time, but just like feeling that sentiment. And it's a really touching, very strong song. And I can relate to that so much as somebody with depression and a mental illness. And every time I hear that, I like, damn, it's like hard when you think about somebody that you admire so much going through so much pain. So I definitely have to go with that song versus Pretty Sweet, even though Pretty Sweet is a really good song, a very different song too. The next one we have is Self Control, which is on Blonde, versus Slide on Me. Okay, I actually fucked this up right now because I thought it was Slide, as in the single with Calvin Harris. But Slide on Me is actually from Endless. So excuse me, Slide on Me is a great song too. But honestly, when it comes to Self-Control, like the vocals on Self-Control, the emotions, the feelings, the like, oh man, like that song like touched a lot of people too, and rightfully so. Because that is just like, that's one of those songs like about your ex or like your ex-lover or whatever, that just like it transports you to a place that almost everyone, a lot of people can relate to. I gotta go with Self-Control, even though Slide on Me has some good music in it too. The next one we have is Lost, which was on Channel Orange versus Wise Man. So I'm gonna have to go with Lost because I like the story that Lost tells a lot more. And like, come on, the Versace like shirt, and like, I don't know, I think too, like, it's also very central to the Channel Orange theme, whereas Wise Man stood on its own. So I'm gonna go with Lost. Next one is Nikes versus Humboldts. Hublots. I can't read my own writing. That's a fairly short song. I'm pretty sure on Endless. And I mean, Nikes is like, I love the lyricism in Nikes, like especially towards the end, like the prophesize part, like, yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Nikes. And it has a music video, like, it's not fair. It's such a good song. The next one we have is Monks, which was on Channel Orange versus At Your Best, You Are Love, which is on Endless. And I'm gonna actually go with At Your Best. I feel like there's some great vocals in that song. And it's like the first song on Endless, and it really transports you to the vibe that he's going on Endless. Very emotional song too. Whereas Monks was a cool story, but I feel like it's not necessarily, in my personal opinion, like central to Channel Orange. I mean, it's really important because there's a lot of themes of love on Channel Orange, but if At Your Best wasn't on Endless, I feel like it would suffer a lot. So I feel like At Your Best really is a really strong vocal performance by Frank. And then the last one we have, which is really hard again, is Novocaine, which is on Nostalgia Ultra / a single, versus Death Wish, which is on Endless. Okay, Death Wish is by far one of my favorites from Endless. And it also has a really cool transition. And it's like a very like dreamy, like, I feel like Endless is a very like dreamy vibe all to it because it's just like one long take, you know, just like so many transitions. So I have to go with Death Wish because I just love that vibe that it creates. Whereas again, Novocaine is like one of the most important songs for Frank's career. And it tells an awesome story. And I have a lot of good memories with it, but it's just, oh, it's too challenging. The next one we have is Chanel versus Comme des Garçons. This one, I have to say Chanel because Chanel, again, was like one of, like, in my opinion, Chanel is one of Frank's best works that he's ever put out. And Comme des Garçons is a great song, but like in comparison to Chanel, I have to choose Chanel. Next one we have is Rushes versus Golden Girl. Golden Girl to me has much more sentimental value and a special place in my heart that I really have to pick Golden Girl. And Rushes is a great song, but I don't feel like that connection that I get when I think of Golden Girl. So I'm gonna go with Golden Girl. The next one is Swim Good versus UNITY. I feel like this is again an old versus new. And when it comes to this one's very hard. I feel like I could go either way with this one, to be honest. But I'm going to go with UNITY because it's so important to Endless. And again, I think this is one of his best rapping. Whereas I would not say that Swim Good is like his best vocal performance or song performance. So I'm going to go with UNITY. The next one we have is Sweet Life versus Ivy. I thought this was interesting because I don't know, like, I thought these are both really strong, like, songs from Channel Orange, so it's interesting, from Channel Orange and Blonde, so it's interesting to, like, compare the two. I'm gonna have to go with Sweet Life, because I think the story that Sweet Life tells is really interesting to me, and Ivy is a great song that's about love, but I have to be honest with you, like, Frank sings a lot about love, and there are definitely like times when I need a song about love, and he does it excellently. Like the things that he says about love and relationships is like uncomparable to a lot of artists, musicians, and like in general. I find myself a little more fascinated though when Frank tells different stories that aren't necessarily all about love, and kind of about like just different things in life. So when it really comes down to it, I find myself more intrigued by those type of stories, and Sweet Life is one of those stories in comparison to Ivy, so I'm gonna pick Sweet Life. Next one is Dust versus Songs for a Woman, which I thought was interesting that two Nostalgia Ultra songs ended up in the same battle and category, but I'm gonna go with Songs for Women. I feel like the beat and the story on that and the lyrics is stronger, though like I said, Dust is like a cute little song that I find myself thinking about a lot. Cannot pronounce again because I'm terrible. Beside versus Self-Control. This one was hard. Okay, I almost found myself going either way because like I said, I get more interested when Frank tells different stories, and I thought this was such a powerful story that I relate to so much, and I appreciate so much of him getting so deep and dark. But I'm gonna have to go with Self-Control because Self-Control is one of the best love songs that he's ever made, so have to go with that one. Next one is Lost versus Nikes, and I'm gonna go with Nikes because I think it has it's different. It's something different from what he's tried before, and I feel like it has more diversity in the song, with like switching between the like rapping and lyricism poetic parts to the like singingness if that's a word, to this like pure singing parts of Frank's music. Whereas Lost, I feel like doesn't take as many risks as Nikes does, and I like when Frank takes risks. My last one is At Your Best, You Are Loved versus Death Wish, and I have to go with Death Wish. That's just a special song to me, like, and also like Frank's vocals in that gets really up there, and so they do in At Your Best, You Are Loved. I think this is just a personal preference overall versus a like really like critical music opinion. Okay, so the next one we have is Chanel versus Golden Girl. This is difficult for me. This is really hard for me. This makes me want to not answer. Oh man, you know, Golden Girl is just so special to me. It has such a place in my heart. But if it really comes down to comparing music, like the music critic in me says Chanel. Chanel just, it really knocks it out of the park, and it's somewhere different that Frank went. Whereas I don't feel like Golden Girl, again, is necessarily like challenging the norms of music. Whereas Chanel is, it's just, oh, it's got that beat that just like, oh, it's so different to me. So I'm gonna go with Chanel, even though my heart breaks saying that. The next one we have is UNITY versus Sweet Life. This one was hard, but I'm gonna go with UNITY. I really like the lyrics in UNITY, and I feel I get more of a glimpse of Frank Ocean himself and the things that he thinks about in UNITY, and like his past and all those things. In UNITY, it feels more personal than Sweet Life. Sweet Life seems to be about a story about something that Frank doesn't necessarily know himself, of like growing up just in this lavish, rich lifestyle. So I'm gonna go with UNITY. One is Songs for Women versus Self-Control. This one's easier for me. I'm gonna have to say Self-Control. Obviously, it's when he's like later developed in his life, in his music life, and it's just a stronger song, and like it's really, to me, a lot about the vocals in Self-Control versus Songs for Women is a little bit more about the beat and the background music. And usually when it comes to vocals, I'm a little more keen on vocals in this battle. I feel like that could change in another one. The next one is Nikes versus Death Wish, and this was a little difficult for me because I really love Nikes, like a lot. It's a really great song, and like I said, it does make challenges. However, I feel specially connected to Death Wish. I feel that it is what made Endless for me what Endless is. Like, it made me fall in love with Endless, and it captured the vibe of Endless that I really like. So I'm gonna have to go with Death Wish, which I feel like is really hard. Okay, so we're getting down to the last three now. So we have Chanel versus UNITY. Again, difficult, because it feels like UNITY is so central to Endless, and that rapping is really special. But Chanel is such a powerful, like, heavy hitter song for me that I really have to go with Chanel, because it just, oh man. And like, also another thing like about Chanel is that I think like the opening line is so strong. And I also like joke, because somebody said this to me one time, that Chanel is like the anthem for bisexuals, and it's so true. Like, if you think about the chorus, like see on both sides like Chanel and my guy pretty like a girl, like yes, bisexuals and queer people that are not just into the opposite sex and opposite gender, like, I feel very represented in that song. So it feels a little more special to me in that sense, I guess, too. So I'm gonna go with Chanel. The next one is Self Control versus Death Wish. Okay, this was so hard. Like, honestly, very, very hard. And I wrote an answer down, but I'm actually gonna change it because, oh my God. Okay, I'm gonna go with Self Control. Self Control, one of the best on Endless, and so is Death Wish. I mean, not on Endless, sorry. Self Control, one of the best on Blonde, and Death Wish to me is one of the best on Endless. But if I have to compare the two, the best on Blonde, like, if not the best, right? Whereas Death Wish is the same way for me for Endless, but I'm gonna go with Self Control. And then finally, the final comparison, the final two songs that I am comparing are Chanel versus Self Control. Now, this seems difficult because it's like one of the strongest things that came out of Frank's Blonde, and then the strongest things that came out of his string of singles in 2017. But there's something about Chanel that captures me and really brings it all together and all home for me, that I have to go with Chanel. And that's not to say that Self Control is not one of his best songs and not one of, his best works that he's put out. But Chanel really has it all. When it comes to a song, Chanel's got it all that I love to see. And it's jam-packed with lyrics. It's jam-packed with snippets about Frank and stuff like that. Whereas Self Control is really about one story. And I have to pick Chanel. It is Chanel. So going into this comparison, I thought that Chanel was gonna be the winner. And there were some times where I thought maybe Golden Girl might do it, but when Golden Girl did go up against what it went up against, it did lose. And that's hard. That's hard for me. But, and I hope that me thinking that Chanel was gonna win was not, like, influencing it. It probably did, but, like, I still very much agree with that and stand by that Chanel needed to win. So I hope that you enjoyed seeing this round 2 of me comparing all the songs in the right side of the bracket for the Frank Ocean Madness round. My last video on the Frank Ocean Madness will be me diving deep into Nights versus Chanel. I feel like that is going to be one of the hardest comparisons that I have to make that I've been doing in these videos. But I'm going to get really real, and I'm going to dive in, and I'm going to compare lyrics, and I'm going to compare transitions and beat switches and all these things in that song. In that video. But I hope that you've enjoyed this second round to it. Please leave a comment down below telling me what you thought about Chanel winning, or what you thought about any of my analysis of the other songs. I would love to hear your thoughts on what you think would have won round 2 or should win round 2 in your book. And please give this video a thumbs up because it's super helpful. But again, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in another video where we will talk about the final 2 songs of Chanel versus Nights, and which will win the entire Frank Ocean madness for me. Thank you so much again for watching. I'll see you later. Pahi Kotan Heave.